It's popping. It's popping. It's popping. It's popping. Peace, blessing, love, and light. It's your girl, Divinely Guided D. And it has been a good minute, okay? So I'm not just going to sit here and act like I've been going for a minute. Now I'm back with the jump off, okay? I couldn't find my red lipstick, so this is going to have to do for now. So I was having some issues with posting, uploading, right? And December, I wanted to do the Vlogmas thing. That didn't happen. January, I had this whole Happy New Year thing. It just didn't feel right. I don't know. Then I was having like these ups and downs in my mood, and I had to do like some cleanse because I started feeling very negative. I started feeling out of place, right? And I had to get my ish together. Okay. So it was a lot of like meditation and just what just happened? Was this recording? I don't know. So I don't know if you can hear me. You should be able to hear me, but for some reason I just heard that ding. Okay. So it was a lot of that going on. And I was seeing people that I thought were no longer going to cross my path. And then I was feeling I was getting some side effects as a result. And I had to figure whatever that was out. Then I started feeling like when it came to some of the content creation, I just couldn't get with what was around. It just seemed so negative. I remember I wanted to upload something about Clarissa Shields. She's the boxer, the greatest woman of all time. That's what she calls herself. She's also been that's been a topic that still continues, and I'm not sure if I want to touch that just because of how negative and dark it seems to be. Then it's all the other stuff that's going on online with other content creators who, you know, has had some type of longevity here on the platform. And that's been kind of been discouraging for me because I don't have currently a big platform. However, I am a witness to all of this. I am also a student, and I am not desperate to be in places that are not creative for me. And I am one of those people that are heavy about protecting your peace. And if protecting your peace means that you sometimes have to remove yourself from certain spaces, then so be it, you know. But it's also challenging because when I'm here, I really like to I really have fun, to be honest with you. And I had started another channel years ago, and that did sorry that didn't really work out for me either. So here I am trying to figure out a way to do something that I enjoy doing without feeling like I'm selling myself out. You know what I'm saying? It's so much messiness is going on in these streets. People getting sued for no reason. Well, the point is, you know, it's just messy out here in these streets. And I'm someone that I have a family. We all do. We all have people that or connections, you know. And sometimes we just don't want to be a part of that. You understand what I'm saying? But anyway, one thing that I was doing while I was away recovering is I started watching a whole bunch of the Love is Blind series. And I went down this whole rabbit hole. For example, I watched the one from Italy. I watched the one from Argentina, the one from Mexico. And I watched this season 10 of Love is Blind USA. And it has been quite a journey. And of course, that is something that will get me out of my hole. And here I am. So I had to make a cup of coffee and get myself together. I just finished watching the reunion, and I just wanted to record while it was still raw and fresh in my head. And I just had these emotions during, because I not only laughed, I wanted to throw a shoe at one point. Um, I teared up a little bit. And I must say that this season has been quite interesting. Now, one thing about Love is Blind is that sometimes it may start off a little slow because people are a little bit awkward. So that was something that happened this season for me. But that's normal. By the time they got to narrow down the couples, um, it got a little bit more interesting. I personally like to wait until they go on the vacation together, because then you're able to kind of see how they think, how they are with other people, how they are in a relationship. Maybe you might see those flaws that have been stopping them from being in that successful relationship that they so much crave. Because one thing I do notice is that a lot of these folks have great occupations. Maybe there might be a few who may seem like they are financially struggling. This season we had Alex, who seemed that way. He had more of the nomadic lifestyle, as he liked to say, and his mom. They lived a nomadic lifestyle, except we know his mom does stuff with. She's a truck driver. Alex apparently does financial advising and when he wants to, and then he's also a goalie for was a goalie. Sometimes he still does it, because we saw, during the reunion, that him and Devo, aka Devontae, like to play soccer together. But anyway, this season was pretty interesting. So we only had one couple that survived, and that was Vic and Christine, as we saw. And they opened up the reunion with them, and it was explained that this couple did not go on the Cabo trip because apparently they couldn't send all of the couples. I think they could only send what was it, nine of them out of 10. Wait, 6 or 7? I don't know. I'm confusing the numbers, but they couldn't send all of them. And they seemed to be a very I don't know if graceful couple is the gracious. They just seem to have a very good relationship with each other. I love the way Christine looks at him, the way they seem to be attentive with each other, the way they seem to want to honor, respect each other, and be of service to each other. I think that's beautiful. One thing I do like about the show, and I looked it up, is that it's not really scripted. Now, yes, they do provide possibly talking points, topics to talk about, things like that, so that way it's not awkward. But as far as like whether or not they choose to be together and stuff, that's up to the actual couple themselves. And that's something that I appreciated about this reunion as well. They had a lot of I think all of them were coupled up, married, except though the people, I think like Priyanka, the ones that were on this season that were just in the audience. So majority seemed to be married or from the Love is Blind community. I think they said all of them were. And it was just so beautiful to see who was it? Taylor from season 8, Minneapolis. I forgot her husband, but I just remember her. She was so cute and petite, and I know that they like to dress with their costumes, so that was beautiful. Who else we got? Yes, but like I said, Vic and Christine, They have such a beautiful connection. We were able to hear what happened with, and I'm probably not going to go in order, Devontae and Brittany. We saw that Devontae and Alex are roommates. Devontae has a home in Arizona and also has a home in Ohio. He apparently is engaged now with the child, and he had gone to Austin with Brianna, Ashley, and Priyanka. Priyanka seems to always be in the middle of something, but apparently Brittany thought that he was going on a business trip, on a work trip, and this was after filming had stopped. Apparently, 2 weeks had gone by and she had not heard from him. Apparently, she found out, or I guess figured out, that he didn't plan on seeing her. And it honestly seemed like that from the ending. Is it just me that when they ended the what is it? They decided they weren't gonna go down the altar, that he seemed like he was just done. And he did mention at the reunion that he's not great at being clear with people and direct, and that's something that he's working on. And I hope that he really gets that help, because it's affecting the soul ties out there that he has created and that he continues to create. So if he doesn't work on that, then he will have a lot of unclosed doors. Okay? And that's not good. And I'm glad that Brittany's father was very gracious with him, and you know, I can tell from the way that they interacted during the season that he's a good man. And even though I have seen other criticism that he should have been more of a shark when it came to Devontae about his daughter, some people are how they are. He's not mean-spirited. He means well. Some people are just honest like that and genuine like that, and I think he's one of those people. And I think Brittany is fortunate that she has a father in her life, and she has someone who's calm in his demeanor. And we see that he loves his baby girl. He loves his family. And it was beautiful to see Brianna and Connor, Breezy and Connor, child. I like Connor. I'm not gonna lie. I do. He's just a man. You know what I'm saying? Like, he's just real chill. He's just like, he seems like one of those dudes that he's not intimidated by what his lady is wearing. He gives me more like Ice-T vibes. Ice-T and Coco. It's kind of like that. Like, he doesn't mind letting her be great. And I think that's what makes him even more great, is the effortlessness that he has, and just who he is as an individual. He doesn't need to take up space, and that gives him kudos and points towards his masculinity. I think so. Breezy is just she gets involved in mess, and I think it's because I don't know if it's the masculine energy in her, and that's not even a diss, because we have both, right? Everybody has that. Some people are more in touch with one side than the other. Some people have just are able to flow in and out of it, right? So Breezy, she's very like, and you can tell she's the type that can kick it with the guys and just be like, whatever. That's why I think with Connor, she was just like, he's not like, what she said, he's not, what is it? You're not medium ugly or something like that. And I'm glad that she also admitted that she's learned that you got to watch how you say certain things, because it's not, those little pokes and jabs can be very offensive and can really chip away at someone's self-esteem, even if it doesn't seem to be that way to you, maybe because you're not the one receiving it. So I'm glad she's been reflecting on that. But Breezy, girl. I also like that they're still together. I didn't mention that, but if you've seen it, then they are still together, which is beautiful to see as well. I think that he's brought out this softer side of her. Is it me, or did it look like she did something with her nose? It could be the contour, or it could be the way that the camera was while they were filming the series compared to the reunion. Or it could just be makeup, but she looked pretty, and she looks happy. And the way she looked at Connor, and she said, I love this man. I believe it. I believe it, girl. And they asked where they see, where do she see the relationship going? She said the altar, marriage till death do them part. And you know what? I hope so. I really do. I really do. He met G-Man, and he's already integrated the family. She's not letting him go anytime soon unless he decides, I'm guessing. And he can hang. Speaking of which, segueing to hanging, Chris. So he still is not getting any air or a foot off his neck from his behavior. Connor handled it like a man. They asked him what he thought about it, and he just mentioned it was just really disrespectful how they spent so much time together while they were in the pods, not well inside the pods, but the men quarters, and how much they worked out together, spent time, and really confided in each other. And then he just kind of wanted to swoop in, use the information that was shared amongst them, just for him to try to get his girl, his lady, which is Breezy. And that was disrespectful. And I would say that Brianna was also asked about the conversation she had with Chris at the bar when he mentioned that he wanted to take her to the Four Seasons and do other things to her, and having his account, his financial account, and how he's not submissive. Whatever. So, and, Breezy did take accountability. Brianna took accountability and apologized to Jessica and Connor because she did admit that things went further than when it should have, and she should have stopped it. And I gotta say, this reunion was beautiful because people held themselves accountable and at least were open to listening, including Alex. He was a little defensive at first, but he was able to receive information that was given to him as well. Same thing with Chris. Chris was very apologetic, and I think he was just, and he said it like, I think he said it, but he acted it. He was embarrassed with his behavior, and rightfully so, because it was just very despicable. And I don't think that he was honest about not being intimidated, because they asked him at one point, was he intimidated by Jessica because he disappeared for like 2 days after, and he said no, that wasn't the reason why. I'm glad that Jessica was able to find love in Harmel. I hope I said his name right. He made me tear up when he said how much he loved her and how much he wants to give her her flowers, and he got a second chance to be with her, and he doesn't know why, because he had a chance the first time during the pods, but then he left because he didn't feel ready. And then like he just said, you're everything, and when you come in the room, it lightens up and everybody leaves feeling better and seen. And I lost it. You can feel how genuine he is in speaking about his emotions, and I appreciated that. These are one of those things that, yeah, there's some entertainment that goes on, whatever, but the overall good that this show does, I don't want that to be overlooked by some of the drama and other things that are pointed out. This is still, I think, a new show. 10 seasons is still experimenting, because if they're in different cities, they're still figuring things out. You have to understand there's regional things, other things that factor in with how people choose, how they choose, and how the production comes along as well, because they also have to work with what they're getting from these people. And one thing that Christine pointed out was that she was told not her, Vic, she was told by her friends that she was too boring for reality TV. So they didn't really have much to show with them. And they were actually, side note, they were actually asked about what is some pet peeves that they have. Christine's pet peeve is that he plays Angry Birds a lot. He has an addiction to it, apparently. And his is that she has a whole bunch of socks and she sleeps with her socks. These people have no real issue. So kudos to them. You know, I love it for them. But back to who was I talking about? Connor, Breezy, Chris, and Jessica, that whole situation that happened. I'm glad that both Brianna and Chris were able to really sincerely seem apologetic about their role overstepping. And Chris said he really felt bad watching that footage and seeing the way that he treated her. And I'm not here to disrespect anybody or to say that people can't change. I am very optimistic. I know that healing is a journey. Some people are ready to hear certain things during, at certain moments, while others take a little bit more time. That's not up for me to decide. That's for Chris to face and endure. But I hope that he gets better, because he didn't seem too well when he was coming out the doors, when they were first introducing, everybody was walking out at the beginning. He didn't seem too well. He seemed like he was preparing himself for the backlash, and for him to live with so much burden like that, I can just imagine the women who probably bash him, dislike him as a result. I can imagine the guys who think he's lame, and there are others that may just be supportive of him, but the majority of, the people are not. Jessica really genuinely seems like a good soul. And I think that's what Ashley said. She's like, you're the sweetest soul or something like that I've ever met, or genuine soul, something like that. So Jessica has a lot of good karma, and you see it in the fact that as soon as all of this negativity happened, she was able to be aligned with someone who looks at her like she is the world. And the way she was just glowing, blushing, it's just like, those things that you can't help, you can't fake that. You could try to, but when it's genuine, the difference, and I'm just so happy for her. Ashley and Alex. I don't know about Ashley. She's an interesting person, but I would say that she's another one who I'm glad that she was honest. Everybody seemed to just be honest enough. Because I did say that Chris wasn't honest about the financial issue he had with Jessica, the insecurity part. And he may not have that issue. I don't know. I don't believe that. But anyway, for the most part, like I said, this was a very open forum, and I appreciate that. The reunion, it seemed digestible, if I must say. It seemed very grown, and that's something that I think I'm trying to be on. And I think that's why I haven't been able to really put content out there, because I'm not with the messiness. So I guess I'm figuring out my community, my niche, what works for me. I like to have fun, but I like to have respect for fun. And I know some people don't know when to stop. So I'm still unlearning a few things that has affected me and my way to socialize and communicate, because this platform is growing and it's going to continue to grow, but it will grow the right way, not through gimmicks. I'm not fluffing any numbers. So what you see is what's there, and I'm divinely guided. Did you hear my stomach? Anyway, back to what I was saying. Ashley and Alex. She's a very beautiful girl, very stunning. Unfortunately, she wasn't Alex's type. it seems like Brianna, no, not Brianna, Brittany, who is Colombian, and she's more of the dark haired. Like he seems to like maybe Priyanka, and being that he knows Priyanka before the show, um, I think that's more of his type. But it could also be because he's traveled around the world. So if he's been on these nomadic excursions, then there's a possibility that that's where he got this thing from. I don't know. I'm not judging. It was what it was. She's still a beautiful girl. I'm glad that he gave her kudos, and he told her that, because she is, you know, she, I think he said conventionally she's a beautiful girl or something like that. She said, well, thank you. And I'm glad that she still had a sense of humor. She was throwing a little jabs, a little, you know, she was poking fun a few times. So she was able to show her personality during the reunion. So she's not just so like, you know, but I think she gets that from her dad, because she knows that she's loved. And I'm glad that she was able to say, you know, if you would have answered the questions a certain way, then basically the outcome would have been different. Because to be honest, like she said, she is her father's little girl. So what do you expect? You're not just going to hand your daughter to just anybody just because he seems to have swag. And that's one thing that Alex appears to have, until you spend more time with him and you realize that he needs some help. I was going to say a hot ass mess, but so I was look at me there trying to be messy. Anyway, so that's that. What else stood out during this reunion? I already mentioned Devontae and how much, you know, Brittany's father gave Grace. Oh yeah, Emma and Mike. To be honest with you, when I first saw Emma, and I have my notes somewhere. Let me see what I wrote about her, because I really like Emma. So I was gonna start with all the episodes, but who knows? I just might. Let me stop. I said something about her basically glowing. I'm not gonna do all of that. Emma is she's so beautiful to me. She really is. And I'm glad that she's empowering herself, because it seems like she struggled with that throughout her life. You know, as a child, the way she seems to reflect on growing up and how difficult it was for her, being different, being adopted, being Chinese, and not knowing much about her culture, having a possibly genetic disease, having the scars, you know, the 10 surgeries by the time she was 7 years old. Those things are hard and it's challenging, and she's very extremely resilient, and I truly commend her. You know what I'm saying? Shout out to Emma. And I was glad to see that she built a community with the other ladies, and the way they were just like nodding, her and Jessica, and you could tell that they keep in touch, that like they see each other often, and they have this tribe. And I think that's what she's been needing, a tribe where she helps to start it, not where she is just coming in. You know what I'm saying? And by that I mean, like, she was adopted, so she was just kind of like placed here, you know. And this is not something that she was just placed in. This is a decision that she made. She decided to come on the show. She's created a bond with these ladies. They know her as the Emma that she chooses to be today. It's a beautiful thing to see. And she says she's not dating right now. She's doing her thing, loving on herself, spending time with family, working on her non-negotiables. Beautiful. That is something that I think a lot of us need to do, instead of just jumping into the next thing. You know, what have we learned about the situation? What have we learned about ourselves? Are we ready to move on to the next thing? Are you healed yet? Are you ready to be asked those uncomfortable questions without being easily triggered? And once you get triggered, what are you going to do about it? So shout out to Emma. Mike is seeing somebody. She was in the audience. It's not much to really say. He wanted children. I hope he has that. And that's it. Did I mention Devontae's having a child? I think so. He found somebody as well. But this is also the same man who said that he wasn't used to dating a black woman. So I don't know what she looks like, honestly. And I'm not judging either. Everybody deserves to be happy. Be happy, honestly. As far as like, do not add people into a situation that you know is preventable and avoidable. Do not waste anybody's feelings. And like Brittany's father said, this is not a game. You either commit or you just let it be. But do not go into the garden, deflower. And that's it. You know what I'm saying? If you're going to come water, add something to it. Bring me a fertilizer. Throw in some compost or something. But don't just like pluck me out and just anyway. You know what that made me think about? Jane the Virgin. That was one of my favorite shows, so I should review that. Anyway. Oh, and they had I forgot what that band, those two singers were, but they had, let me look it up because I don't want to seem disrespectful. They made me cry when they were singing, and then the montage was going on. I might just pop it up here on the screen once I edit this. I might. Okay. And with that being said, your girl is here to stay. I'll be back, y'all. Don't worry. I'm feeling the momentum, so pray for me.